Hey EllisFamLifers, welcome back to another episode of Keepin It Real. I'm Amber and the mom of Alex and Will, a set of nonverbal autistic twin boys. This is EllisFamLife, #autistictwins. This is a pretty difficult episode to make. I have been putting off making this particular video for a while, pretty much since my channel first started. Several people have asked me, how did you know they were autistic? There are a lot of factors involved, and I think I'm finally ready to make a video about our autism story itself. It takes a lot of emotional energy to talk about sad parts. Whenever I think over our story for the last couple of years, it makes me really sad. It's like going through a traumatic experience. I don't want to put finding out that your twins are autistic on the same level as, witnessing a murder or having something traumatic happen to you, but it just up feelings that sometimes I just don't want to think about or feel. It is a combination of several things. I wanted to do the video justice because our story is a big story to me. I tell a lot of fun stories about our twins and about our family, but this story carries the highest amount of importance because it is the story. How did we know they were autistic? I also knew that it was going to take a long time. It takes an act of Congress for me to sit down and actually make a video. No, there's a lot going on in our house. It takes a minute to carve out some time to sit and actually record uninterrupted. Generally, I am interrupted, you just don't see that part. I edit that part out. I have gotten that good at editing. And I know the story is coming, but it's taken me a while to work myself up to it. I'm gonna break this up into several parts and try to give you some examples to show you how we knew that they were autistic. Let me start at the very beginning. We are the Ellis family. Frank and I were married in 1998. As of the recording of this video, this is our 20-year wedding anniversary. We had Frankie, who is now 17. 3 years later, we had Steven, who is 14. And then we went for a long time without having children. I had 2 miscarriages between Steven and the twins, and the second miscarriage was 19 weeks. So I guess you could probably understand that I went for a long time without wanting more children and just content with the 2 that I had. In the meantime, we finished nursing school and became RNs. That is a second career for both of us. Started our new jobs at the hospital, and we decided that maybe it would be time to start thinking about having another baby. And at the time, we wanted a girl. So instead of having a girl, we had 2 more boys. The twins were born June 11th of 2014. I was 35 years old. And let me think about anything significant during my pregnancy. I did take Wellbutrin, which is an antidepressant. I literally did have 1 glass of wine while I was pregnant. And then it really didn't do any good. I couldn't sleep, so it was not really worth it. It was a wasted glass of wine. I had a pretty uneventful pregnancy. I carried them to 37.5, so I was almost full term. Did go on bed rest around 31 weeks when I went into preterm labor. I spent 3 days in the hospital and had a mag drip, which is magnesium, and it can stop labor, but also it really helps brain development. So in case the babies came early, we had something for neurodevelopment on board. I survived that okay, and at 36 weeks, the doctor took me off of bed rest and said, you can go anytime. So it then took another couple of weeks. I went into labor, got to the hospital, and had the babies. Vaginal delivery, no C-section. About 3 or 4 hours after we got to the hospital. Almost picture perfect for twins. The only issue that I can think of is that he was baby B, had a hard time waking up at birth. They really just stimulated him good. It felt like a long time, but it really wasn't. Probably less than 5 minutes, and I was holding both of them, and then we went back to recovery. We went home, they were bottle fed. Fast forward through the first 6 months, so birth to 6 months was pretty uneventful.
Alex, what are you doing? What are you doing, huh? Are you being a sweet boy? Sweet boy. Yeah.
They were really sweet baby. Everything seemed normal. And the big thing, vomited a lot. And it did not seem to be a GERD problem. Like, baby drinks the bottle, baby immediately spits up a little and does this every time. That was not how the twins were. They both vomited. Will was especially bad, and it was really when we started solid food. And I remember being at a party or something where we had watermelon. It was about the time that you would normally offer solid food, so maybe somewhere between 5 and 6 months old. I offered Will a little piece of watermelon. It touched his mouth, and he kind of tried to chew it a little bit, and then he didn't choke, but he vomited. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I had to stop and bathe him right there and change his clothes, and we just bathed him in the sink. And I felt so bad, and I remember thinking, why did he do that? That is so weird. He didn't choke. It was just like it touched his mouth and then he threw up. So that was kind of concerning, but then I put it out of my head thinking, oh, it's acid reflux. It's just what babies do. Keep going. Developmentally, they seem to be doing okay.
Goodness. Who's that that's got you?
You know, around a year, they started trying to walk, but they walked kind of late, maybe like 14 or 15 months old, and I remember they crawled at a normal time, maybe around 9 or 10 months old, kind of maybe a little bit late, but not a lot.
He's dragging that gimp leg. You are hilarious, son.
And I got a lot of comments about, oh, they're twins and they're boys, so they're gonna be a little bit behind in talking and trying to walk and all the developmental milestones, so boys are always a little bit behind. If I ever had concerns, they were fleeting, and as soon as I thought of something, it would evaporate and I would be like, that's not a big deal. It's just because they're twins and they're boys. Solid food was not really happening. I just kept feeding them baby food and formula. And then when we got to a year old, I changed the formula to cow's milk, and we kept doing baby food, because the more I would try to feed them real food, the more they would vomit. And it was kind of like that party all over again. Anytime I would hand them food, they would try it and mouth it a little bit and sense it a little bit in their mouth, and then they would vomit. And if they were sitting together, if one vomited, the other one would sympathy vomit. It really was double trouble.
Meltdowns also became more and more common. But we had lots of happy moments too. Our last trip as a family was to the beach in August of 2015, before the boys were really mobile and before we knew anything was wrong. And of course, this was way before the travel documentary with the BBC. And even though developmentally I knew they were behind and that there was something wrong, at the same time, these boys brought us so much joy. And they made our family complete.